Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding inside your pocket change. If you love coin collecting, history, or just want to know if that old penny sitting in your drawer could be worth a fortune, then you're in the right place. First, up the 1942, Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a historical coin from the World War II era and part of one of the most beloved U.S. coin series. Since it has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the majority of Lincoln cents that year. The coin features President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and two wheat stalks on the back, a design by Victor David Brenner that represents American strength, prosperity, and progress. The year 1942 was an important one in U.S. history. America was fully involved in World War II, and the Mint was beginning to plan ways to conserve metals for the war effort. However, pennies in 1942 were still made using the traditional bronze composition consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Only the following year, in 1943, did the Mint switch to making pennies out of steel coated with zinc to save copper for military production. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 657 million 1942 Lincoln wheat pennies, so this date is considered very common in the world of coin collecting. Because of that high mintage, most 1942 pennies found today have low market value unless they are in exceptional condition or have a unique error. You mentioned that your coin is in damaged condition with some scratches. In coin grading terms, damaged usually means that the coin has significant wear, corrosion, or physical marks that go beyond normal circulation wear. This can include deep scratches, dents, cleaning marks, environmental damage, or discoloration. Damage of this kind greatly reduces a coin's collector value because it affects both the appearance and historical integrity of the piece. A 1942 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in damaged condition is still a genuine coin, but it would generally have only a small collector value. In today's market, such a coin is typically worth about 2 to 5 cents in US dollars, sometimes just face value, 1 cent, if the damage is heavy. If the coin still has visible date and details, and only minor surface scratches, it might bring closer to 5 to 10 cents to a casual collector or someone trying to fill a basic album. However, professional dealers or grading services would not pay more than a few cents for a coin in this condition because of its large mintage and the damage it has sustained. Despite the low monetary value, the 1942 penny still carries historical and sentimental value. Every one of these coins circulated during a time when the United States was engaged in a global conflict, and everyday Americans were using coins like this in stores, gas stations, and post offices during the war years. It's a small but real connection to that period in history. If you'd like to keep the coin as part of a personal collection, it's best to store it properly to prevent further damage. Avoid cleaning or polishing it, as this can remove its natural patina and make it look unnaturally shiny, which can lower its value even more. Instead, place it in a simple coin flip, coin album, or protective sleeve, and keep it in a cool, dry place. While damaged coins like this one rarely hold high financial worth, they are often appreciated for their age, design, and historical context. For many collectors, especially beginners, a coin like this is a meaningful piece of American heritage that sparks curiosity about the time it was minted and the hands it might have passed through. Next up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark is a popular and collectible coin from the mid-20th century. The S below the date identifies it as having been struck at the San Francisco Mint, one of the 3 U.S. mints that produced Lincoln cents that year, the others being Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver D. Like all wheat pennies, it features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, which symbolize American prosperity and strength. The The year 1944 marked a major change in U.S. coin production. In 1943, pennies were made of steel coated with zinc because copper was needed for World War II ammunition and military equipment. By 1944, the war was winding down, and the mint returned to using the traditional bronze composition, about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, recycling spent shell casings from the war effort to strike new coins. This makes the 1944 wheat pennies a symbolic issue that represents America's transition from wartime to peace. The San Francisco Mint produced about 282 million Lincoln cents in 1944, so the 1944s is considered common, especially compared with some earlier dates. Its value depends mainly on condition and eye appeal. A coin in fine condition, like yours, shows moderate wear from circulation. Lincoln's face and coat details are worn but clearly visible, and the lettering and date remain sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse still display most of their lines, though the high points may be flat. Light scratches from handling are typical for a coin that spent years in circulation. In today's market, a 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition generally sells for around 10 to 25 cents USD. If the coin has good color and minimal marks, it might reach about $30,000 in higher grades, such as extremely fine XF or about uncirculated AU. Values range from $100 to $200. Each circulated. Examples with bright red surfaces and strong details can sell for $500 to $150, while certified high-grade red pieces may bring even more at auction. Because your coin has some scratches, it would be valued toward the lower end of that range, roughly 10 to 20 cents. There is one famous variety from this year worth mentioning: the 1944 S steel cent, which resulted from a few leftover steel planches from 1943 being used by mistake. These rare off-metal errors can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, but genuine examples are extremely scarce and must be authenticated by experts. Most 1944 S cents, including yours, are the normal bronze type. Even though the regular 1944 S penny isn't rare, it remains a fascinating historical piece. Every coin from this year tells the story of a nation emerging from war, reusing materials from the battlefield to produce currency for peacetime. Many collectors include the 1944 S in their Lincoln wheat penny sets because it represents one of the most symbolic issues in the entire series. If you plan to keep your coin, the best way to preserve it is to avoid cleaning or polishing it, as that can scratch the surface and reduce its collector appeal. Instead, store it in a small coin flip, plastic holder, or coin album page in a cool, dry place. This will prevent further oxidation and damage. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark is a well-known and widely collected coin from the final years of the wheat penny series. The D below the date signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint, which was the largest producer of Lincoln cents during the 1950s. This coin carries the classic design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. By 1956, the United States was experiencing a post-war economic boom, and coin production was at record highs to meet the country's growing demand for currency. The Denver Mint struck an enormous 1,098 30s to $100 wheat pennies in 1956 alone, more than 1 billion coins, making this one of the most common issues of the entire wheat penny series. Because of that large mintage, the 1956 D penny is readily available today, both in circulation and in coin collections, and its value depends mostly on its condition and color: red, red-brown, or brown. Your coin is described as being in very fine VF condition with some scratches. In this grade, the coin shows light to moderate wear on Lincoln's hair and face, though most major features remain clear. On the reverse, the wheat ears still display most of their detail, and the lettering is fully visible. Minor scratches from circulation or handling are common and acceptable at this level, though they can slightly reduce the coin's eye appeal and market value. In today's coin market, a 1956D Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition typically sells for around $17,000 USD. Coins that are especially clean and free of heavy marks might reach $20,000, while examples in extra fine XF or about uncirculated AU condition can go for 30 cents to $1. Uncirculated 1956D pennies with bright, original red color can be worth between $200 and $500, and top-graded certified red specimens can fetch $10 or more at auction. However, because your coin has noticeable scratches, its value would likely fall toward the lower end of that range, roughly 5 to 10 cents. It's important to note that the 1956D penny also has a few minor die varieties that collectors sometimes seek out. One of the better-known ones is the 1956D DD repunched mint mark, RPM variety, where the D was stamped twice into the die, leaving a faint doubling effect on the mint mark. These varieties can be worth several dollars or more, depending on visibility and condition. To check for this, you can examine the mint mark closely under magnification. If it shows doubling or a shadow-like outline, it might be one of those collectible RPM varieties. Even though most 1956D wheat pennies are not rare or high in monetary value, they hold strong historical and sentimental significance. The wheat penny design was retired just 3 years later, in 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. As one of the last issues before that major design change, the 1956D serves as a nostalgic reminder of the original Lincoln cent design that circulated for half a century. For coin preservation, avoid cleaning or polishing your penny, even if it has scratches or discoloration. Cleaning removes the coin's natural surface tone and can cause micro-scratches that further decrease its value. Instead, gently store the coin in a protective holder, coin flip, or album to prevent more wear or corrosion. Next up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history and a favorite among collectors. The absence of a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the largest number of Lincoln cents that year. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this classic coin features the enduring portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, a design that symbolizes America's agricultural strength, prosperity, and unity. The year 1944 was especially significant in U.S. coinage history. During World War II, copper was needed for ammunition and other military supplies, so in 1943, the U.S. Mint made pennies out of zinc-coated steel instead of the usual bronze. However, in 1944, as the war was nearing its end, the Mint resumed using bronze, recycling spent shell casings from military training and battlefields. These were melted down and turned into copper alloy planchets for the new pennies. This makes the 1944 Lincoln penny a symbolic coin. It was literally made from the remnants of war, representing peace, renewal, and the nation's resilience. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 1.4 billion Lincoln wheat pennies in 1944, making this date one of the most common in the entire wheat cent series. Because of that massive mintage, most 1944 pennies have modest market value, unless they are in pristine condition or feature a rare minting error. Your coin is described as being in dirty condition with a color shade and some scratches. That means it has circulated for many years and shows noticeable wear, possibly with surface dirt, dark toning, or spots of discoloration caused by oxidation. The color shade indicates the natural patina that copper develops over decades, which can range from light brown to deep chocolate brown or even dark red-brown tones. This is typical for copper coins and gives them an aged, historical look. However, heavy dirt or corrosion can reduce a coin's visual appeal and collector interest. In fine to very fine condition, a 1944 wheat penny from Philadelphia usually shows moderate wear on Lincoln's hair, face, and jawline, but all major details remain visible. The wheat stalks on the reverse may have some smoothing but are still recognizable, and the lettering is readable. Scratches, particularly from handling or cleaning, are common, but do lower the coin's overall value slightly. In today's coin market, a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty condition with some scratches and color shading typically has a value between USD. If the coin is evenly toned and still has decent details, it might be closer to $12,000. On the other hand, if the coin has heavy grime, pitting, or corrosion, the value may be closer to $15,000, or roughly its face value. In higher grades, such as extra-fine XF about uncirculated AU or uncirculated MS, the 1944 penny's value can range from $100 to $300, with bright red uncirculated examples certified by grading services, sometimes selling for $500 to $600 or more. However, those are well-preserved examples, quite different from coins that have been heavily circulated. There is also a rare variety worth noting, the 1944 steel cent, which resulted from leftover 1943 steel planchets being used accidentally. These rare errors can sell for tens of thousands of dollars if verified by professional grading services. However, the vast majority of 1944 pennies, including your bronze one, are the standard issue and are not rare. Even though your coin doesn't carry high monetary value, it holds strong historical importance. Each 1944 wheat penny represents America's recovery from wartime resource shortages and the spirit of renewal that defined the mid-1940s. Millions of people handled coins like yours during the final years of World War II, buying food, writing letters, and rebuilding their lives after the hardships of war. If you plan to keep your 1944 penny as a collectible, it's best not to clean it. Cleaning can scratch the coin's surface and remove its natural patina, which collectors generally prefer intact. Instead, store it in a protective coin holder, album, or flip to prevent further dirt or oxidation. Next up, the 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a notable and sentimental coin, because it represents the final year of the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, which began in 1909. The absence of a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the primary facility of the U.S. Mint. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has remained a cornerstone of American coinage for over a century, while the reverse showcases two wheat stalks, flanking the denomination 1 cent, symbolizing growth, prosperity, and national unity. By 1958, the wheat penny had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years, and the U.S. Mint was preparing for a major design change to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth in 1959. The following year, the reverse design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, ending the era of the beloved wheat ears design. Because of this transition, the 1958 wheat penny holds sentimental significance among collectors as the last issue of its kind. In 1958, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 252,525,000 Lincoln cents, making it a common coin in the series. The composition remained the traditional 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the same bronze alloy used since 1909, except for the steel cents of 1943. Your coin is described as being in very fine VF condition, with a brown color shade and some scratches. A brown color shade indicates that the coin has toned naturally over time, losing its original bright reddish color as the copper oxidized. This is normal for older copper coins and is generally accepted by collectors, especially when the toning is even and attractive. In very fine condition, Lincoln's facial features are still clearly visible, though there is moderate wear on the high points of his hair and cheek. The lettering and date are fully legible, and the wheat stalks on the reverse retain most of their lines. However, the presence of scratches and surface marks does affect the coin's appeal and market value slightly, since collectors prefer coins with smooth, original surfaces. Still, a coin like this remains a desirable example for anyone completing a basic Lincoln wheat penny set. In today's U.S. coin market, a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition, with a brown tone and some scratches, is typically worth about 5 to 15 cents USD. If the coin has strong details and an even brown color without major damage, it could reach around 20 cents. In higher grades, such as extra fine XF or about uncirculated AU, the value might increase to 30 to 50 cents, while uncirculated examples range between $1 and $3. Brilliant red uncirculated coins, certified by grading services, can sell for $5 to $10 or more. Because this was the final year of the Wheat Penny series, collectors often value it more for its historical significance than for its rarity or metal content. It marks the end of one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history and the beginning of a new chapter in American coinage with the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, introduced in 1959. While your coin is not rare, it still carries charm and meaning as part of this important transition year. Even in circulated condition, it's a tangible link to mid-20th century America. A time of optimism, post-war prosperity, and enduring national pride. Millions of Americans used coins like this daily for groceries, postage, and transportation, making it a small but powerful piece of everyday history. To preserve your 1958 penny, avoid cleaning or polishing it. Cleaning removes the natural toning and can leave tiny scratches that further reduce its value. Instead, gently place it in a protective holder, coin flip, or album page, and store it in a dry, cool location away from humidity or chemicals that can cause corrosion. To summarize, your 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark in brown color shade, very fine condition, and with some scratches, has a current market value of about 5 to 15 cents, possibly up to 20 cents if well preserved. While it may not be highly valuable in dollar terms, it remains a meaningful collectible, a final tribute to the long-running Wheat Penny series, and a proud representation of Abraham Lincoln's enduring presence on American coinage.